Now, whether you're planting food plots right now, it's mid-May, or you're actually planning for your hunting season plots. I plant my plots in August, and we're really looking for that hunting season movement and really offering those food plots at a time where you can influence not only the deer herd the most, the nutrition of the deer herd, the balance of the deer herd, and the sex ratios, the buck age structure, the populations, but I'm also looking at to influence the hunt. So that time of the year is a great time, but regardless of when you're planting your food plots, it takes a lot of planting. And what I want to ask you guys out there, how many of your food plots are dead-end food plots? A high percentage of your food plots on your land should be dead-end plots, especially when it comes to your large destination food sources that you expect to attract the deer to every single afternoon. A dead-end food plot is a very advantageous food plot because it gives you the ability to bring deer to a hidden food source. It gets dark and then you release them to the surrounding neighborhood, the industrial park, the school, the surrounding ag fields, wherever it might be. You bring them safely to a dead-end destination food plot. You can control that movement until dark, areas that you know the deer are not going to release until after dark. And that is one of the greatest food plot strategies that I can give you and offer you this year. And I'll give you an example. Right here we have a neighborhood behind me. We have some tree lines behind me. We have switchgrass that we're surrounding our food plots in. We have all the cover right here and where all the deer are coming out of. The mature bucks, they live up here somewhere. We want them to come down to these food plots. We want the deer to be on these food plots until dark every single day, and we don't want to spook them ever. We want them to come to these large destination food sources and then release at dark. What that allows us to do then is to actually hunt the edge of that food plot movement. And I'll give you an example right here over here. We have our pine tree stand that we did a segment on 5 hot tips for setting up a stand location this year. And we have a stand location on the other side of the food plot here. We have a fence row in between and a ditch line where we can actually hunt a tree line, crabapple tree there, and blow our scent back to the neighborhood. We have neighborhood here, neighborhood all over here. Where we don't want to blow our scent up is, you know, right up this way, right up into the hollow here and up into the ridge line. That's where the deer are coming from during the day. These food plots represent a dead end, meaning they don't want it. They do go out into the neighborhood out there. They eat ornamental shrubs. I live in the neighborhood just 3 blocks away. They hit people's bird feeders. Some people, I think, even feed them at night. My neighbor even has a trail camera. So there's a lot of deer that move through the neighborhood at night, but they're not there during the daylight, and that is key. No different from the school. I don't know if you can hear the kids playing behind me, but they're out for recess right now. We have an industrial park on the other side. It's actually fenced off in locations. The sewage treatment ponds are fenced off. Deer do not go around those areas or through those areas until after dark. It might be they have a factory nearby. It might be they have a large road system. It might be they have surrounding ag fields where the deer are exposed to surrounding roads or nearby roads, and they don't like being out there until after dark because people stop and watch them all summer long, and especially as it gets into the hunting season. A dead-end food plot is an outstanding food plot because typically it's off to the side of your property. That helps create depth. For example, if we had a giant food plot right up here on these open acres right next to the food, the does take over that spot, and now we're pushing our mature bucks away. By moving the food all the way out here to the extreme edge where it's a dead end before dark, then we can maximize the depth. That allows us to hold more deer on the land and especially create room for more mature bucks. We get to hunt those edges. This represents the food. We try to make this last all the way through January, February out here. We're screening it in. We're screening in with switchgrass because that's a low cost option. We should have that to 4 feet high at the end of this year, and that switchgrass should be 7 to 8 feet tall at the end of the next summer, and then we can maintain that for 10 years. We might have to burn it a little bit. We might have to spray it with chemicals, but I've seen a lot of switchgrass fields that are still holding the rigidity and still 80% switchgrass or more at year 10. So we're not only taking these deer and offering food at that source of that dead end, which is the neighborhood and the school right back here, but we're actually hiding those food plots even one layer further, so that not only are we using the lay of the land here to hide deer, but we're using switchgrass to hide deer. And we want a lot of deer spread out in these acres around here. This is a beautiful setting. We want them to come out here into this open area. We've established other switchgrass lines. We've done the same over next to the industrial park over here. Both of those, the industrial park, the school, the neighborhood, they all represent dead ends. If you think about those dead ends, and your dead end might even be an area where you have extreme hunting pressure next to you. People are hunting fence rows along an open ag field. You know those deer aren't going after dark. We have an area on the back side of the industrial acre where mature bucks just don't go out into during the daylight because they can stock up on our land and then release at night. That allows those deer to be pointed in the right direction as well. So they're coming out of the woods where they feed on browse all day. They hit our food plots for an hour before dark, and then after dark they're out on the ag fields, bird feeders, schoolyard, people's ornamental shrubs in the neighborhood, and that's what they feed on all night, which takes pressure off of our food plots. There's a lot of advantages for having a dead end food plot, whether it's pointing the deer in the right direction, letting them feed after night, making sure that you have stand locations that blow outward into those dead end areas, making sure you're not spooking deer on that property, maximizing your food plot acreage, so you're putting deer outside of your property after dark, also creating that depth of cover. A lot of advantages. I hope that makes sense. Try a dead end food plot this year. The exception might be a small little food plot over here, a harvest plot, where we're funneling deer through that hunting plot to something like this. I prefer, because I want to maximize that depth here in this location. Every property is different, but I have a water hole over here. We have a mock scrape over on this side, and we have those features for deer to key in on their way in and out of these locations. We're trying to maximize the daylight use of these food plots with these food plot dead ends, and I know that you can take advantage of them on your property if you have food plots. Consider a dead end, what it is, and how it can affect your hunt and overall ability to actually attract, hold, promote, protect, and advance a buck age structure, sex ratios, populations, create a quality herd, and a quality hunt this hunting season.